Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing super well. Welcome to the Tuesday Outlook and Setups, where I share every Tuesday my analysis for the day. Potentially, this will stretch over to the next day or the rest of the week, but this will definitely be a place for you to get to grips with how I trade, how I analyze, and how I view the markets. Let's jump right into it. Okay, let's see. We are on GU. This is the forward time frame. I already marked this up, and I'll just quickly explain what's happening over here. So basically, this is our most recent swing point, I would say, for me on the 4 hour. We have this low, and we have this high, and that's the swing point that reacted off of this one towards the downside. So we have this high and low, and we had a push towards the upside. Let me just show you. A push towards the upside, a pullback, and then from this pullback all the way towards the upside is what broke all of this structure, and that reacted off of this 4 hour level over here. So nothing special about it, it's just the last swing point for me that I'm looking at, the most relevant one. You could have used this one as well, probably, but it will give you more or less the same information. And the information that I'm looking for is only to see where is the premium and discounts, most recent premium discount in relation to where price is currently. So if you take this swing low or you take this one, both will tell you that the discount is below this 50%, and the areas of interest is this order block over there, this one over here, and so on. So not too much to be worried about with regards to this. So we can take that away now because I know what's happening there. Then we can just look at current price action or current levels of interest. So we have this whole area of imbalance that I've marked over here, followed by the structure break, and then we previous highs and previous lows. So yesterday's high and yesterday's low. So we're still trading within that range. Then we have this order block, this down candle before the big up movement that broke structure on this side for the move towards the upside. And looking at 50% off that move up, this is what we have over here. So I'm currently anticipating or expecting price to make a move towards the downside inside this area. So that is currently my target for EU for GE, for price to move down to more or less, I would say, 31.6. Let's make it just a number, something like this. That's currently what I'm looking for price to reach into on the high time frame. So I'm more bearish today. Maybe not all day, but specifically London session, I am bearish. But potentially New York, we could see a pullback as well. But overall, GU is relatively choppy and not super clear. Yesterday, EU was brilliant, but EU not as much. Let's have a look at the 1 hour just to see what is the situation over here. So usually what I like to do is target the 1 hour. Where's the 1 hour liquidity point? So if we just have to quickly put them out here, just this, we have to map them out. So I would say we have this previous high, and then this is a 1 hour probably area for sales, but it's not super cool for me. It's not super full body candle. It's probably about 40% full body and 60% wicks, and then we didn't break any structure. So GU is really confusing because I do think we're just ranging currently. So there's nothing super clear for me. So what I would love to see is first is price to move up into this area and then down. So that's kind of the situation I'm looking for. I'll then have to look on the 15-minute lower time frame to see if there's anything standing out. So perhaps this zone over here could be valid as well. We have some imbalance, very little imbalance there as well. And this move towards the downside is what broke this structure. And then we still have this accumulation phase inside the Asian session. So this is very good. We have a very nice accumulation. So I do think it is quite possible that we could see this push towards the upside and then down, but not necessarily all the way back up to that area. If you look, this is 30 pips, 37 pips. So it is possible we could see price moving all the way back up here and then move down. So the key with this is now very crucial, is that when you're looking for shorts with a case like this where you have an extreme area where price could return to, this is this one as well as these previous highs. So we have two areas. We have this one and we have this area. There are two areas that is crucial where price could return to. Now, you don't take any shorts, aggressive shorts, all from the way up here. You don't take any aggressive shorts until you reach this area. Here you can take an aggressive short because we have confluence from the higher time frame down to the lower time frame that we could return here. And if it fails, you can take an aggressive short around this area, but also not too aggressive because now this could be a sweep or it could just be a structure break, price breaking structure, pulling back, retesting it, and then continuing up higher. That's the other possibility. Now, the real thing that you need to do is when you want to take a short earlier on, if you think price is failing and maybe you spot something on the 5 minute or the 1 minute in this area, then you need to look for a confirmation. Then you need to look for a structure break on the lower time frame. So push up, maybe some structure, a structure break, a pullback, an new order block, and then take the short. So, but you can also look for aggressive entries based off of smaller time frame order blocks. But in my opinion, they are less probable. They could work out 100%. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, in my experience, for my trading plan, that's how I approach it and what's been working for me. So those are the areas that I'm then interested in and the things that's kind of looking good currently today. So I do think it's a bit choppy, not as clean and clear as we would love it to be, but it is what it is, and we need to just work with what we have. If we don't get anything on GU, then potentially EU is then the better one. Let's have a look at EU. So on EU, I have a clean chart so that you can follow the markups that I'm doing. I'm looking at this structure break over here. That's important. I'm looking at this swing towards the downside from the high towards the low. And then I am looking also at previous liquidity. We have these highs and we have those lows, these highs. What do you see here? Well, we can see that price impulsively swept the liquidity above these highs over there and then broke structure over there. So I do think we are bearish. We're making a complex correction, slower pullback, and then we're possibly flushing towards the downside. This will be the new liquidity target. Final target, absolutely first, will be this one. That will be the first liquidity target. So what does that look like on the lower time frame? Well, let's look at the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, ideally, I would want to see price first tap into the 50% of the swing towards the downside as a retracement, and then look for price to continue down lower. But it's absolutely possible that price could first go higher, tap one of these areas, and then go lower. So the thing is, with a move like this on a Friday afternoon, is that you don't know what's going to happen early on in the next week. Also, with a week like this, where we have NFP this week, it makes it really difficult to make a clear decision on what's going to happen. So that's why it's so important just to react on what we see. So currently, I'm going to move it to this candle, but that is the area that I'm looking at that I'm really liking, this whole accumulation zone that we have over here. So that is probably the area that I'll be looking at firstly for price to return to if we continue up our bullishness. So currently, we should take longs until proven otherwise, just because we haven't seen a shift towards the downside for bearishness. We're still seeing bullishness, and we have a bullish target up here, which is in the 50% in the premium. It is an order block. We have imbalance. We have a structure break. We have all the things we need to look for, for long still, and only shorts from this area. So it makes it a bit more complex and difficult because everyone wants to short because we see this push down and we see this corrective move, but we need to wait until we get a clear confirmation that we are moving towards the downside. Otherwise, if we try to short now, we're actually telling the market that we know what it's going to do and we are superior in our thinking and we can predict what's going to happen. And that's obviously, we all know, not true. Currently, we're seeing more impulsiveness and correctiveness in this side. We can see we have some impulsiveness in these candles, and then corrective price action lower. So it is suggesting that we could be seeing price go a bit higher. Let's have a look at the 1 hour, sorry, 50 minutes. And we can see that this was our last, let's say our last order block. We're creating some liquidity down there. So but typically, this would be a setup that I would possibly be looking for if it aligns to the right time of day. For price to then sweep the liquidity below these lows, tap into 50% of this area, and see a continuation of higher. Something interesting to note, this is a little tip. You can see how often when you have a candle like this where the body isn't full, you often see the 50% align with the close of that body. You can see over there, there's the close and there's 50% aligning very well. But currently, this is the supply or the demand, or what do you want to call it, the order block zone, the buy zone that I'm looking at for price to potentially react off of and go higher. But this is also the area that I'm looking to that needs to fail. That needs to fail, break towards the downside, and then potentially a pullback towards something new created in this area, and then a move lower. So we still need to see how Asian session is going to close because Asian session is not yet closed, and we can see where's 2 o'clock. I actually think now 7 and 3 because of the daylight savings in Europe. That's potentially our Asian session. So we still need to see exactly what's going to happen in here for us to take a short from. So nothing yet clear, so that's why I'm not even going to be bothered about Asian session right now. So I'm still bullish until proven otherwise. So I really need to see clear conviction that we are moving towards the downside. I'm absolutely certain that we are moving down at some point, but I don't want to take unnecessary shorts when we're actually still bullish. You get my drift. So I kind of want to see price creating that structure shift and that change of character towards the downside before continuing and looking for shorts. So we need to see that happening real soon first. So that's it for EU today. Let's have a quick look at Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar has been quite a mess as of late. You can see just this accumulation, consolidation, sideways moving market, up and down, creating wedges and sledges and all that. So it's really difficult for me to trade this pair specifically from the high time frame point of view. But for this, then I'll just be looking at the 1 hour and seeing what is happening on that 1 hour. And when you're not getting new to a chart, what I always do, and you only want to do intraday scalping, intraday trades, we just look at the 1 hour liquidity and we follow the order flow. So we have an order block up there, we respected it, we push towards the downside. Then we have our new 1 hour liquidity target over there. We tapped into that liquidity. So currently we are in a range, and we can see that by looking at this high, this high, and this low. That's our range, or this low. That's our range now because price has reacted off of this area, and it needs to decide now where it's going to go. But obviously we have a structure break over there, and then a order block sell zone over there. So for me personally, maybe it's something like this, and then a continuation lower, because this liquidity has been swept. This low now becomes the new liquidity, and that is then the area that you're looking for price to reach, for it to reach into. Possibly first a pullback, and then a continuation down lower. On the 50-minute, we can potentially see here. This is probably have been a new scanner, so it's a bit more difficult to read then exactly where to. But this is the whole idea that I have for AU, in the direction that it could be going. And just because of the fact that we reacted off of this liquidity, this order block, this sell zone, we broke structure, It looks, if we just look at the recent structure, recent price action, it seems to be more bearish. So for that reason, we're looking more for sells. And let's just have a quick look at pound yen. With pound yen, we were moving quite aggressively towards the upside, but then we saw we had a nice shift in structure by looking at how price made new lower lows and lower highs. So that's quite evident, and we can see that very clearly. So now we need to look at the most recent action and just follow the trend towards the downside, looking for sells. I won't be looking for buys just yet because I do think all of this will just be liquidity, and we'll be just looking to go lower. So we see a structure break over there, and then we have this as our last sell area, sell candle, even though we don't really have any imbalance, but this area, so potentially we could be looking at a 50% of this area. And then the last area of liquidity is this low, unless we break it and just continue down lower, but that is the current area of the previous low. But actually, I won't put that there because the candle hasn't closed yet, so we won't have that over there. So then on the 1 hour, you can see how the 50% aligns of this candle. So I will just refine it to that area. Here we now have imbalance and we have the previous high. So this does look good for price to come up into this area and then carry on down further. Very short, simple, straight to the point. There's nothing needed to say more. It's very clear. We can see exactly what it's showing us. So we can just wait and be patient to wait for this. So if we will reach that area, I'm not sure because we also have a small structure break over here. So perhaps something lower time frames caused it in this area. But ultimately, from a 1 hour point of view, that's the area that I've been looking for sales. And then obviously we can go on the lower time frames and we can potentially look for an area where where to sell from. Or from the 15 minutes, potentially something in this area as well, but nothing is standing out and looking very clear. So that is it from my side. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a mouthful. It's been quite a few things to look at, but yes, stay disciplined, stick with your plan, and keep your emotions in check. Have a lovely day. See you all again. Bye.